can answer the question.
Why would you answer that question?
The question is,
radical left.
Will you shut up, man?
Listen, who is on your list, Joe? Joe, you've had 308,000 military people dying because you couldn't provide them proper health care in the military.
Now, instead of actually helping Americans, 47 years, Joe Biden was busy lining the pockets of his own family. In spite of him denying it, he's wrong. That includes zero experience Hunter Biden.
So he doesn't want to line out for when he eventually does it. But it's no secret. Oh, Amy Coney, she's the reason they're now talking about this. They were talking about this 2 months ago before Ruth Bader Ginsburg passed away. You know, and Donald Trump was right. Ruth Bader Ginsburg said the president is the president for 4 years, not a fraction of that, not 3 years. He's the president for 4 years, so he should fill the court.
Answer by Biden, because he's like, well, you have to have an election. Well, we had an election.
Correct.
He's the president. It's happened 29 times in election years.
Well, you're in an election year. It's like, so you mean he's not the president till, you know, January or whatever it is?
Right.
Well, of course he is. So it's an asinine answer.
And I think that for Joe Biden, it definitely did not give a very clear direction on where he would take America, other than he kept shifting. It was like the shifting of Joe Biden, and it's a laundry list of accomplishments by the president that he addressed tonight.
You know, as I predicted, Judge, I believe coming into this that Joe Biden probably spent all of these, you know, lid days, which is half of the month of September, and pretty much staying in his basement bunker the whole time, you know, learning his 3 or 4 points. But even then, I don't know what you call it, a brain fart. I mean, he gets lost, he digresses, he gets confused. I felt like I'm looking at a confused, you know, corpse versus this this Energizer bunny that's ready for battle and combat.
You know, when I talk about the president, I talk about the president as being the kind of guy who goes into the lion's den and he comes out with a pelt over his shoulder and his tie straight. You know, and tonight was an example of that.
I mean, Brian, seriously. The man was asked one time, well, science says this, and then the president of the United States says, science doesn't know. Well, science does know. Science knows that we are facing a crisis in terms of the rapid changes to our climate, most of which can be addressed by changing and adapting in terms of our behaviors. I was actually very impressed, not in a positive way, to hear that everything that Donald Trump talked about was what he was gonna do, as opposed to what he has done. Like, track the debate. I don't know how many times, I didn't count.
And of course, Donald Trump being the biggest violator of that. Now, these rules have all been agreed to by both parties. As we all know, there's a very intense negotiation about the rules. And so turning off the microphones is something the Presidential Debate Commission is not allowed to do without the agreement of both parties. The Trump side will never agree to that because that's his entire debate strategy, is to speak while Joe Biden is speaking. There is no other debate strategy, you know, if we can call it a debate strategy. I do think, Brian, that going forward tomorrow night and not just through this week, but through history, probably the biggest headline that will live through history of this debate is the President of the United States refusing repeatedly to take a stand against white supremacists. Each moderator must ask that question again, and ask that question more than once in each one of these debates of Donald Trump. It can't be allowed to end the way it ended tonight. And if Donald Trump is going to go through every one of these debates refusing to take a stand against white supremacy, that is something we have to get indelibly etched in the history of these debates.